if you raise your kid right, he just might get you to France. My kid is so amazing that at the age of 15, he figured out how to get me to Paris without paying for it. He had planned with his uncle an amazing pilgrimage to the D-Day beaches of Normandy. But when he found out that he'd be flying into Paris, he looked at his uncle and he said, there is no way I can go to Paris without my mother. I just can't. You have to bring her too. So I got to go on the buddy trip. And I'll tell you that the time that we were in Normandy, I was 100% dedicated to World War II. I was in the band of brothers. But when we were in Paris, all bets were off. I was 100% tourist. I gawked, I giggled, and I had no language skills at all. The first night we were in Paris, we're walking around the neighborhood near our hotel, and I look at my brother and I say, why are all the restaurants named the same thing? And I was dead serious. And he said, what do you mean? And I said, they're all named Brasserie. And he said, Cindy, that's the French word for restaurant. The name of the restaurant is above it. And I felt like it must have been really hard to be Michael and traveling with me, because Michael didn't speak French either, but I let him do all the work. He carried the dictionary. And he learned how to do some really difficult things, like he rented us a car in French. I couldn't even get us a bottle of water. I would ask him to get it for me. He'd say, do it yourself. Here's the word. And I would practice the word in the line. I'd practice, and then I'd get up there and I'd say, hello, may I have a bottle of water? Because I just couldn't bring myself to mispronounce the word. It was embarrassing. So I became Harpo Marx. I didn't speak. I just acted out what I wanted. And I would go into patisseries and I would just point to everything. And they would bag it up for me. They were actually really nice about it. And they would hand me the bag. I would have paid by just putting my money on the counter and letting them pick what they thought they were owed. And they would hand me the bag and they'd say, voila, voila. That's to me, that's Paris, voila. Until the night of the solstice. The night of the summer solstice, Paris erupted. It was a huge outdoor music festival. There were people everywhere, music, drinking, dancing in the streets. So we can't walk around and look for a cafe. There's people coming out the doors. There's no place to go. So we end up, the only place we can get in is a really expensive French restaurant, which gives us pause. But Michael says, it's okay, this will be our one splurge, our one big fancy meal in Paris. So we go in, and it's a very old world, very sophisticated, and we sit down, and there he is, the quintessential snooty French waiter. No voila, okay, none. And so I decide, because he's sort of pushing my buttons, this will be the night that I try to order in French, okay? Brilliant idea, all right? Even Michael, who's holding on to his French dictionary, knows that he needs to play it safe with this really complicated menu, all right? I'm looking at the waiter and I'm like, looking at my menu and I'm like, I'll have this for my appetizer and I'll have this for my entree. Michael's ordered steaks and salads, okay? So out come the appetizers, they have their salads, and I have a bowl of bugs on ice with a side of aioli. Now, I know they're not really bugs, they're actually little tiny crayfish, but they are so little, I swear to God, they were born in the kitchen just now. Like they popped out of the mother, somebody scooped them up, threw them in a bowl of ice, and they thought if I ate it with mayonnaise, I wouldn't realize I was crunching, okay? Now, this is where memory starts to get blurry. Jordan swears I ate those things like Anthony Bourdain, all right? My brother says, I think you just sort of picked at it. I have no memory. For me, it was like a bad gynecological experience. Like, I got through it, but I have no memory of the details, okay? I do remember Michael saying to me, do you want to order something else? And I'm looking at that damn waiter and I'm like, no, I have an excellent entree coming out. I know I'm going to have a beautiful shrimp dish, right? So out come their steaks with those incredible French sauces. and out comes my entree, which is the mother of the babies, slapped on a plate, okay? That waiter let me order the exact same thing, only bigger, without blinking, without any emotion, okay? It was huge, it was hideous. Crustacean doesn't cover it, okay? So basically on the night of the solstice, we paid a whole lot of money for me to starve, okay? The next night, out of pity, Michael took me to an Italian restaurant. But then at the end of the meal, he ordered for me a profiterole to redeem the French people, okay? And then we were off to Normandy, and I do want to say, in all seriousness, it was a life-altering trip to be on the beaches of Normandy. My son is 25. He still has a bottle of sand from each of the 5 beaches on his shelf. He is a history major, and he did us proud. But on his phone, 10 years later, his contact picture of his mother is mom holding the prawn. Thank you.